I would like to invite you to a professional development session called How to Flip Your Classroom. The session will be taking place on February 25th, most likely in room 403. Since the topic of this session will be on how to flip your classroom, and flipping one's classroom often deals with making a video, I thought it would be appropriate to make a video that introduces you to some of the basics of flipping your classroom. So in essence, a flipped classroom is the opposite of how many of us teach every single day. Traditionally, a classroom is all about a teacher standing in front of the room providing a lesson. And sometimes this particular topic or form of teaching is referred to as the sage on the stage. What's different about flipping one's classroom is that the teacher is no longer the sage on the stage, but instead is a guide on the side. Well, what does that mean? It means that where before the lecture took place inside the classroom, in the flipped classroom, the lecture actually takes place outside of the classroom, often in the form of a video or some other activity that students do at home. And that provides teachers with the opportunity to work with students on some sort of learning activity inside of the classroom rather than asking students to do homework, i.e. the learning activity, outside of the classroom. And this, of course, provides additional support for those students who need it most inside the classroom rather than outside the classroom where the teachers cannot work with students easily. So ultimately, what you'd want to do if you want to flip your classroom is to make a video of some concept or some lesson that you think would be appropriate for students to watch at home. And as part of the professional development session, I will be introducing you to some software that you can use to make a video very easily. In fact, you can even make these videos on your phone or tablets, regardless of the operating system that you have in your pocket right now. Once you've made the video, you'd want to upload that video to YouTube or to Drive or to Dropbox. Really, it's your personal preference. As you can see here, I like to use YouTube. When you make that video, you might realize that you're going to need to practice a little bit, and that's okay. The software that I'll show you allows you to make the video, edit the video, and really to make the video as many times as you need before you feel like it's ready for students to watch. After you make the video, just like you do in your classroom every day, you want to plan your learning activity. And this might simply be the homework that you would have assigned to students following that traditional lecture. So instead of giving the lecture in class, the lecture is now the video, and the homework is what students do inside the classroom the next day after watching the video. And of course, after students have completed the learning activity, you'll have the opportunity to evaluate the effectiveness of this lesson. So for example, are you going to give some sort of post-assessment to determine whether or not students understood the lecture that was part of the video? Or are you going to give a post-assessment that reveals whether students are better able to demonstrate proficiency following the learning activity inside the classroom? Maybe you'll simply collect the homework at the end of the class period and use that as a way to assess student understanding. I want you to be aware that flipping sounds scary, making videos and altering the structure of your classroom, but chances are you've already flipped without even knowing it. So if you've ever assigned a reading from a textbook, if you've assigned reading from a primary source, if you've watched a video in class, if you've had students visit a website before coming to class, or even if you had students watch a movie outside of class, I know the 9th graders very soon are going to be going to see the movie Selma, you've already flipped the classroom because you've taken the content of what you want students to engage with inside the classroom and moved it outside of the walls of your classroom. It's also important to note, since many of you know that I am the empiricist, I'm the person who wants to know that these sorts of techniques work, that flipped classrooms actually promote student achievement when it's used in different learning environments. Most of the studies that have been performed are in science classes, which allow for the rapid collection of data, and both studies at San Jose State University and at Vanderbilt University have revealed that students who are engaged in a flipped learning environment tend to do better than their peers who are not exposed to the same sort of learning environment. So if you're willing to try it, chances are it's going to increase student achievement in your classroom. So that's about it. I'd like to once again invite you to the professional development session on February 25th, most likely in room 403, where you'll have an opportunity to learn more about how to flip your classroom, as well as some of the pedagogical implications of flipping your classroom on a regular basis. Look forward to seeing you soon.